Hey, Sven here. As the title of this thumbnail already says, it's really incredible how well I can manipulate images with NanoBanana. The challenge here is that I always have to go to AI Studio, or I need to use some other user interface or platform in order to make these modifications to the images or photos. And that's exactly why I've now built a make scenario. So you can easily integrate this image or photo editing functionality directly into your make scenarios. And I'll show you exactly how it works here in this video. I just think it's a really cool thing. We use it for thumbnails, for LinkedIn posts, and much more. I'm Sven. I'm an entrepreneur, and I've been involved with quality and process optimization for over 33 years, not just in business, but in all areas of life. Much of what I can do today, I've learned through experience, through trial and error, and I know what really works. And with my videos, I want to show you how you can achieve more value creation and greater productivity in your company through intelligent process automation. If you're not sure where to start, or if you have specific questions, just book a call with me. You'll find the link for that below this video. So let's get started. This thumbnail you see here, we're going to produce it live in scenario in just a moment. I just wanted to give you that as an introduction. In the end, it's simply based on a photo of me. I've uploaded it here to Cloudinary. Cloudinary is a web space we often use because it's free up to a certain amount of data and provides static URLs. That's why, for example, I can simply upload a photo right here and then obtain a unique URL through this link, which I can then use to reference this image whenever I need to. Because in order to modify it with NanoBanana, I first need to have it in some form. And this I need to have it is best achieved if it's on some platform that gives me a URL and lets me download the image directly. If you look at the scenario here and I take a look at this edit image function, we can see here that it says generate a response. That might seem a bit unusual or perhaps even a little unexpected, because you would actually expect that when I call Google Gemini here, I would use the generate an image function. However, the problem with this function is that when selecting the models, it only includes the Imagen models and not NanoBanana, which is unfortunately not available in this selection. So while I can create really beautiful, visually stunning images with Imagen, it's a truly excellent and impressive model. I just don't have the advanced capabilities that NanoBanana offers, and that's exactly why it doesn't work this way. Therefore, it's necessary to find another way. For this, I need the generate a response function, the one I would normally use to create regular prompts with text responses. But here, in the model selection, I find NanoBanana listed alongside all the other models available via the API. And when I use NanoBanana, I always need a two-part message. The first part contains the message type file. That means I have to indicate precisely where to get the file from. I can't provide it directly here either. So I can't just simply drop in the URL that we get from Cloudinary, for example, directly into the system. Instead, I first have to upload it somewhere else, specifically to the Gemini environment, so to speak, before it can be used. Even if I already know the MIME type and have a valid URL, it still doesn't work as expected. I first have to upload it to the upload file location, which is a necessary step in the process. And then as the second part of my prompt, I have the type text, and that's the prompt I want to use to modify the image. Then we need one more setting, specifically down here, the response modality, that is, the particular form of the answer. And that should definitely be set to image, because in the end, what I ultimately want is to get an image back as a response. We don't need any of the other settings for this particular case. Once the image has been generated, I then upload it to Cloudinary, and here it's especially important, since the whole thing is a data stream, that I convert it to binary so that it arrives at Cloudinary in the correct format. Additionally, I also upload the MIME type, set the resource type to image, and I always use the current date and time to give the image a unique name. And that's basically it. That's the entire process in a nutshell, and there really isn't much more to it. Now, in this scenario, I have a slightly different layout. That's simply because I always build such a scenario as a sub-scenario. I think it's pointless to include this function, which I need here 17 times in 17 different scenarios. And then if something changes somewhere, I have to change it 17 times, and I'm guaranteed to forget half of them. That's why I create a sub-scenario that I can then call externally. You can think of it as a subroutine. That's also why you will always see this start a scenario module at the very beginning and the return output module at the end. Here in Cloudinary, I have also included an error handler because sometimes things can unexpectedly go wrong. For example, if something does not work properly during generation. But let's set that particular detail aside for now. Error handling is a whole separate topic in Make anyway. So what do I basically need to execute this scenario? Well, I need the URL of the image and I need the prompt. And that's why I included them here in the scenario inputs. That means here I have the prompt image change prompt. You might want to set that to required. And then I have the image URL, which basically means the location or address where the image I want to modify comes from. As a scenario output, I then have the URL of the generated modified image. So how does the whole process work? I provide the URL when calling the scenario. Then it first needs to be downloaded using the HTTP function. And the result from the HTTP call is then used for the upload into the Germany world. That means it feels like one step too many, but that's just how it has to be. Then finally, the image is verified, uploaded to Cloudinary, and that's it. And that's basically all there is to it. So if I run this thing now, I need an image. Now let's go back here again. I want to use this image, so I'll copy this URL here. And when I initiate it now, I simply enter the URL, which is the web address right here. And for the image prompt, I've prepared something here. So first of all, very simply change the color of the t-shirt to green, such as a bright green, and then put a baseball cap on the head. All right, let's start the whole thing. The image is carefully downloaded, then uploaded, and finally edited successfully. This editing process is relatively quick, about 10 to 15 seconds. And then the finished image is uploaded to Cloudinary, and I successfully receive the final URL link back here through this module. And now let's take a closer look at the result together. Yes, and indeed. The t-shirt is currently green, the cap is clearly placed on the head, and otherwise the image remains more or less unchanged. So this is the simplest method to make such changes to images. And if you want to do something different now, for example, here on Cloudinary, there's a demo image of a shoe. Let's just go ahead and grab this URL so we have it ready. Now, let's start the scenario as planned. Next, copy this image and place it right here. After that, let's make a prompt, which I have also written down here for us to use. Advertising photo of the sneaker that captures pure joy of life, featuring young people in the world, Pikey. Do you know the word spiel? The same thing happens here once again. The image is first downloaded, then uploaded to Gemini, after which the editing process is started, and finally, the resulting image is uploaded to Cloudinary. So you can't actually see the shoe itself now, but it seems that this woman here is wearing the shoe. You might need to write the prompt just a little bit differently so that she is actually holding the shoe in her hand, or perhaps looking at it very excitedly, or doing something similar to that. All right, finally, I want to use my own personal photo again. That means we will take the same URL again and start the entire process from the very beginning. I'll paste the URL in here, and now we'll do this TikTok thing again. So this prompt is called a click-worthy thumbnail for a TikTok video in orange, red, and black with the headline, "Unbelievable," and a skeptical-looking smiley. It's just the facial expression of the person without changing the face itself. Yeah, a dilly wibble. This time it even kept my eyes brown, because they are actually brown, and in the other picture they were somehow red, but whatever. Okay, so now you're able to successfully incorporate NanoBanana modifications into your make scenarios, just as we discussed earlier. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you can make use of it. And I have another new idea, namely, I typically utilize, when I generate images, for example, I utilize the text from the blog post and use that text to generate the prompt. And I want to take a moment to consider whether it might make sense to generate a suitable and relevant image for a blog post, as well as an image of my face directly from the content of the blog post itself, simply by using the prompt that is provided. Well, let's see what comes out of it. I'll try it out soon and get back to you. Until then, have fun with it. Bye.